Previously on MotoringBox.
The challenge from here is getting this intercooler piping from the intercooler to the intake, which is going to send it through this sheet of metal here under the headlight. This is really the sticking point, whether we go here or here. That's really what's holding up the rest of this from running.
Anyway, I started blasting.
This episode of MotoringBox is proudly supported by Century Batteries. Welcome back to MotoringBox. I'm Sean McKellar, and as you just saw, we blasted our way through one of the final roadblocks in turbocharging this AU Fairmont VCT. I've done a fairly neat cut, all things considered, and I have painted it just to prevent it from rusting. But this area is not going to be seen. If there needs to be some additional material and welding and whatnot done here, then so be it, but I really just wanted to progress, and this is how we're going to do it. So look, there was a second option there that I was investigating. I bought some 2 1/4 inch pipe to see if it could fit through that gap that we identified, and it looked like it could, but that gap in itself is going to need modification, and there was talk of needing to have clearance around these pipes, like 10 mil of clearance, and if it's going to be hard up against the frame rail, then that's not probably going to work anyway. So it sort of turned out that second option was always going to be like a compromise, and that kind of just solidified my thought that, hey look, we need to cut this material from under the headlight, use the stock standard alloy pipe that goes through, and everything fits up awesomely. Check out this picture I posted on Instagram last night. Both the hot side and the cold side piping work perfectly. So we're going to do a conversion to a B series spec coolant tank, and I'll show you why that is going to help us out. All right, so here's a look at the B series tank, and it fits in exactly the same spot. The AU and the B series Falcons share a lot of similarities. Rather than having this outlet on the bottom like it is on the AU tank, this one comes out the front. So that's going to get it away from the turbo, which is a plus. But after mocking this up and sort of putting it in place, there are some lines here on this ABS module which have to slightly be bent out of the way, which I've done already. And crucially, the BA and BF Falcon, well, the turbo ones, I assume the NA ones did too, they had a different coolant pipe. And I think it goes like that. It jumps up almost straight away, gets around the whole intake and turbo situation, and then goes into the front of the tank. So that's going to solve the clearance issues that we've got down there around the cold and hot side intake and also the turbo itself. This is going to get it all out of the way. I don't want to jinx myself, but I think cutting that panel under the headlight there was like the last big thing we had to do. Everything else should be simple in comparison to that. This tank was brand new about 2 or 3 years ago. It's already starting to go yellow. And there goes the cap. So B series tank, straight into that notch, the bolt holes line up. But yes, this outlet here is very, very close. So let me bolt it in place and I'll show you what's up with it. And all my tools are on the bench. I swear I spend the whole day walking from the car over to here and back again all the time. I do not have the space or the money to have, rolling workbenches or toolboxes or whatnot. That would be nice, but yeah, I simply couldn't do it here. Too tight, both financially and space-wise as well. I have read online through some old forum pages and things like that, people running these on an AU before. So hopefully that means it'll fit properly. I'm just going to run with it and presume that it does. Yikes. So let's get this pipe out of the way too. Oh. After you pull the thermo fans out to get to the hose clamp. Damn it. It's always Sean in the past who's doing me dirty, things like that. Damn him. I wanted to get these out anyway because I have to run those transmission cooler lines as well, so it's got to be done. Got it. Yeah, they're a little bit torn up. Bit of a crack here at the bottom, the top's cracked as well, and yeah, there's a thing here that's meant to retain the cable that's just broken, so look, they'll do the job for now, but yeah, they need to be replaced. So it's pretty exciting. potentially this car could be running within the next week or so. I mean, driving on the road. One big hiccup or sort of speed bump in the rotor is an exhaust. So I've got a standard B series exhaust. The first two sections of it anyway, I got the one with the cat at the front and then the one with the mid muffler. The rear one's not going to work because in B series it goes over the top of the diff. Even though it's an IRS car, it goes over the top. But this one, even though it's IRS as well, it's a different type of IRS, the exhaust goes under the diff. So the rear section's not going to work, but hopefully the midsection bolts up. Makes it quite enough to drive on the road for a month or two before we can save up and get a proper exhaust for it. Piss this old hose off, we don't need that anymore. That is looking pretty neat. That can probably sit underneath it like so. We'll get some cable ties and tie that up. And if that's the case, then this one can go down here underneath. This ABS unit, this brake line here just had to be bent out of the way because it was going right down in front of where this outlet goes. The other issue is, I don't really know what this unit does or what's in there, but there's this big cylinder here on the bottom of it, which means this hose is going to have to kind of sit over the top of that. So it'll go on, but yeah, it's going to be sort of pressed against that unit a little bit. Might have to bend this line out of the way just a little bit too. You can sort of see even that's probably enough to fix it. It's going to sit like that. That's actually looking pretty good. But yeah, it is touching the top of that cylinder. Jump in here and sort out the lower one. Definitely need to buy some new hose clamps to sort this engine bay out and get it looking really good. This looks shocking, but look, is what it is. Here's a look. This is the only potential issue, the way that coolant line has to snake over the top of that ABS unit. Is that going to be too hot and causing any issues for that? We'll find out. Lots of space to the turbo, and it'll mean the intake can slot in nicely too. I'm going to let you in on a realization I've had after more than 40 years on this earth. I don't actually like modified cars. Now look, I know how ridiculous that sounds, especially as I'm strapping a turbocharger to the side of my AU Fairmont. But hear me out. The way most people see it, Falcons and Commodores were built with untapped potential, performance left on the table, just waiting for us to unlock it. You can add more power, bigger brakes, stiffer suspension, and sure, we gain speed, grip, and efficiency. But we also inherit the downsides: a louder exhaust, heavier clutches, noisier brakes, and bone-rattling rides. And after a while, you start to wonder if it was all worth it. You start to miss how your car used to be. But this is different. I'm not taking away anything that makes my AU Fairmont great. It'll drive, ride, and handle exactly as it did before. Factory fresh. But now, stepping into a sort of alternate reality. One where Ford Australia brought their turbo development forward and gave us an Intec VCT turbo. Ford spent millions designing, refining, and testing all of these factory XR6 turbo parts. And that is exactly why I'm using as many of these parts as I can. Some people will say it's a mistake, it's a compromise, but I am chasing that OEM magic. And I want it to be a car that Ford could have, and maybe should have, built themselves. Alright, so we've got the engine bay pretty much sorted out and finalised here. I've just re-gapped all of the spark plugs to 0.8mm. And that's really to make sure that the spark doesn't get blown out when we've got all that boost blowing into the cylinders. So I've found with my BA XR6 Turbo, around a 0.7 or 0.8mm gap is great for sort of up to 15 pounds of boost. So one of the final things we need to sort out in here is boost control. And this is actually rather simple to do. I'm going to do it using a 3-port Mac valve. Now this is something I learnt about from Hoff at Nugget Garage back when I had boost control issues on my BA XR6 Turbo. So if you're planning to use a stock Garrett turbo from an XR6 Turbo on your project, they actually have a boost or vacuum nipple on the front housing of that turbo. You hook up a bit of vacuum hose to that nipple, and then the other end of that vacuum hose goes into the front port on this Mac valve. And then you need another bit of vacuum hose to go off this side here, which goes to your wastegate actuator. And really what this thing is a gate. So how a wastegate actuator works is once, say if it's got a 5-pound spring like mine does, once you've got 5 pounds of boost coming in through this port here, if there was no gate, the 5 pound would go straight to the wastegate spring would start to open. You know, it has 5 pounds of pressure there, and once it hits 5, the wastegate opens, the boost automatically stays at 5 by that gate sort of opening varying degrees. So what this Mac valve does is it can close the gate and stop that 5 pounds flowing through until you want it to, right? So if you want to set the boost to 10 pounds, the Haltech, once the boost starts to reach around 10 pounds, it'll start cracking this thing open and sort of pulsing and letting just the right amount of boost and sort of air through to keep that wastegate at the right amount to keep the boost at 10 pounds or whatever amount you set it at. That is a really rudimentary explanation on how this thing works, but it basically means we need to mount this somewhere near the turbo. This line here, we'll trim it to suit, it'll go to the front housing of the turbo, but mine doesn't actually have a nipple on it. Well, the alternative is Mambacell an adapter, which goes through a silicon joiner like this, which has a nipple on it, and then you can, you know, put your vacuum hose directly onto that. So you would install this thing onto one of these silicon joiners, probably somewhere between the turbo and the intercooler. And also one last thing is the wiring. So the really cool thing about the patch harness that Bill Hooton made for me is that the stock narrowband O2 sensor wiring, because the narrowband is not being used anymore, we've got a wideband which is going directly to the Haltech with its own wiring. You've got narrowband wiring in the vicinity of where this Mac valve needs to be. So we are repurposing that narrowband plug, snipping off the narrowband O2 sensor, and we're going to utilize that wiring for this Mac valve. So the Haltech is already set up for that. We're just going to install it all now. Yeah, now the silicon joiner, which is coming off the turbo, you know, the start of the charge pipe there, I don't think there's enough space to install this little nipple adapter thingy there. Feels like the gap between the, you know, the soft part of the joiner is not, oh, you know, it's close. It probably could go there, you know. Here's a look at the spot we're going to. There's the front of the turbo. Where that turbo outlet comes out, there's that joiner. That white dot is where it's going to go. There is a little bit of soft silicon area there between, you know, where that pipe goes up into the joiner and where the turbo goes down into the joiner. There is a bit of a gap there, and that's where that nipple's going to pop right out. The Mac valve will probably be mounted here somewhere on the side of the engine bay, and then the other vacuum hose has to go across to that nipple right there. So we need to drill a 7mm hole right there. Poke this through and we'll be done. Get that cleaned out as much as possible. So there's a couple of rubber seals and a washer involved. Looks like it'll seal up beautifully, plenty of space. And then we don't want to go too crazy on this because otherwise the seals will start blowing out. You know what, that looks pretty good to me. Let's go whack it back in, hey? All right, here's what I've done. Have a look. I've zip tied it to this rather strong part of the wiring loom. It doesn't move very much. But once you put the vacuum lines on, so there's the one running, if you can see it, from the turbo to the front part of the Mac valve, that sort of is fairly rigid anyway and holds it too. And then we've got the other vacuum hose which runs, where is it? There it is. Need to push that on just a little bit more, but yeah, that runs to the wastegate actuator. And yeah, it just means that it's a bit hard to get down here, but it's pretty rigid, like it's not moving anywhere. So I think that's going to be okay. Just got to sort out the wiring for it, and then we'll have boost control.